This episode is brought to you by HASA. Liquid is clearly better. Liquid chlorine is the highest purity, works immediately, has no added cyanuric acid or calcium, and it will leave your pool safe, clean, and clear. And by the bottom feeder professional grade battery powered vacuum system. It sucks to clean pools, so cleaning pools sucks less. Get $100 off with code DVB100.
This episode is brought to you by Skimmer, the #1 pool service software in North America. With Skimmer, you can streamline your schedule, grow your revenue, and keep your customers coming back with 5-star service. Whether you're a one-person operation or an established team, Skimmer is your partner in success. Visit getskimmer.com/poolguy to try Skimmer for free for 30 days.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hi, and welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to go over ways to handle customers that seem to be a little bit on the tight side or the cheap side, how to deal with them, and some strategies. There's always going to be certain people on your pool route that question everything you charge them for, or are always going to be looking for a bargain. Are you a pool service pro looking to take your business to the next level? Join the Pool Guy Coaching Program. Get expert advice, business tips, exclusive content, and get direct support from me. I'm a 35-year veteran in the industry. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, I've got the tools to help you succeed. Learn more at swimmingpoollearning.com. And I wouldn't take it too personal when someone is being really tight or cheap with you as far as what you're charging or when you're trying to sell them something. We do, after all, live in a bargain type society. I think the culture is set up to only buy things when they're on sale. And so everyone markets things on sale all the time because, I don't know, for some reason, it's just been that way for decades now, that to pay full retail price for something doesn't seem American. It's kind of weird. And when Americans go to foreign countries, they're known to be bargaining down for things or wanting discounts or wanting upgrades for free. And that's kind of like the mentality that we've been set with. And so when you're charging for something, and this is something that I've learned over the years, you want to try to give the customer the idea that they're getting a good deal. It makes some sense to where, you may say that, normally this costs $1,500, but since you're a regular customer, I'm going to go ahead and do it for $1,350. So that kind of strategy is highly effective when you give them a full kind of marked up retail price, and then you drop it down where you're still, of course, making your full profit because you're upcharging. Just like when you go shopping at the stores, those sale prices have the built-in margin. So it's not like they're actually losing money or giving things away. They're just putting a price that they know they're going to make a profit at, and also that you're going to purchase the item at. So it's all psychology, really, and it's all marketing. And so if you can structure things that way with your customers, they'll feel like they're getting a good deal. And they probably are getting a good deal, because if anyone pays the full manufactured suggested retail price, I think the only time when this doesn't really work well is when you go to buy a car or buy a new truck or something for your business. When you look at that sticker on at the dealer, at least when you're buying something brand new, it seems like they have the manufactured retail price or whatever, and then they're adding all these things on top of it, and so it's like $10,000 over what the manufacturer actually is selling it for. That's why I always buy, slightly used vehicles that are 2 or 3 years old, because then you really get a bargain, because the person that bought that vehicle new takes the hit, and then you get a discounted price. And again, that's the whole bargain society mentality that we're dealing with, and I kind of buy into it, I guess, myself. Another thing to understand is their situation. So people's situations change over time. Everyone's income ebbs and flows, I think, to some extent. Some people don't feel that effect, but a lot of people do feel an effect of income ebbing and flowing. And so they may be at a down point at this time, and when you bill them for something, they may be questioning it because honestly they don't have the money to pay for what you're charging them. They may ask for coming every other week on service because they can't afford weekly service and things like that. You have to understand their situation. Maybe they're not trying to save money because they're wanting a bargain or that they're cheap, but they may just not be able to afford your full service charge at this time. And that's why it's great to have tiered services. You can do chemicals only, chemicals, skim and brush, full service. And you can also maybe take payments for some things. I've done this before where I've installed a new motor. The customer is just having a tough month with their budget, and they ask me if they can pay me half now and half next month. If they're a regular customer and they've been with you for years, or a long-term customer, I'm fine with that. And I've done that before with customers. I take a little hit because I don't get the full amount, but I understand that I'd rather take 2 payments than not get paid at all if that's the case. And so you have to kind of bend a little bit sometimes without breaking, because if the customer really is struggling, they may just not pay you. And then I've done podcasts on recourse when someone doesn't pay you, and there's not much recourse you can do as a pool service provider. You're not technically a general contractor, so you can't put a lien on them. You can't really report them anywhere because, there's really not a lot except maybe a service agreement. No one really has a contract. And so if they don't pay you for 2 or 3 months, you don't get the money. And so you have to kind of bend sometimes on their situation. But let's just say that it's nothing with the situation. In their driveway are 2 brand new Mercedes. I've done service accounts where actually customers do buy the same car and they buy 2 of them at the same time. It's kind of weird. And I always wonder, how much money do these people actually have? But I've been to accounts where there's like 2 brand new BMWs in the driveway. It's like they buy 2 at the same time. It's crazy. People can't even afford one. And then you send them a bill for a part for the automatic cleaner, and they're like, hey, I saw this online on Amazon, and it's actually $10 cheaper than what you charged me for. Those are the kind of customers that you kind of scratch your head. And of course, they have that kind of money because they are these kind of people, questioning everything so that they know that every penny is counted. And this is something that you have to deal with out there because we really can't match a lot of the prices on Amazon. And one reason for this, well, there's a couple reasons for this, but the main reason is a lot of the stuff on Amazon are generic parts that are made in overseas where they're not made by the manufacturer. They look a lot like the manufactured part, but they're not really the part. And another thing is that the picture of the actual product is not the actual product that you sell the customer. And this is kind of hard to explain to people. And I had a member of my group have this problem where he installed a Pentair pump, VS pump, and it looks a lot like this really cheap one on Amazon. I mean, it looks almost exactly like it. It's not Pentair. I think it's like a E-Power or some kind of weird off-brand, but it looks just like the Pentair pump. It has the same shape and everything. And he just had a really hard time, dissecting this and explaining to the customer that these are not the same product. And it finally, he was able to get it across to the customer that he installed a Pentair pump, and the pump that he's looking at on Amazon is not a Pentair pump. This happens a lot where they see a price and they want you to match it. So what do you do in a situation like that? Well, it just depends on what the product is and what can be done on your end. Now, you don't want to lose any money, and you certainly don't want to give something for free, basically, because if you match a price online, you have no profit there. And you have to stay in business. So there's this balancing act where you just have to explain to the customer. And I recently had a conversation with my HVAC installer because I have a lot of HVAC systems on my rentals, and he was charging me to replace the plug for the air conditioner. Basically, the wiring up there got loose, and he charged me, I think, $400 for this. And I told him, isn't that a little bit expensive? I mean, you're basically I'm not going to go up on the roof myself and do that. It's a 2-story building. And, but he said to me this, he said, well, he said, you know this, I charge what I charge so that I can stay in business. And I, was taken aback by that because it was really true. I should know that he's charging what he charges to stay in business, because it is a tough environment out there. For us in the pool industry, the prices are pretty inflated. everything is expensive. I mean, here in California, you can't get a gallon of gas for less than $4.50 a gallon in most places. And then you, of course, add on any kind of payroll tax, and it is really high here for an employee to have all the Social Security and payroll taxes paid. So the cost of doing business in California is expensive. And so when he said that, it made a lot of sense to me. He charges what he charges to stay in business. Now, you can phrase that a different way because I know him really well and he was just straight with me. But basically, you can tell the customer something like, well, the reason why I charge this much for this part, number one, I get it from my supplier and it comes directly from the manufacturer. I do this for several reasons, but the main reason is my manufacturer doesn't carry any of these generic parts that you see online. The reason why they don't carry it is because they have a contract with the manufacturer to only get OEM parts that I put on your equipment pad, because these are parts that are verified and these are parts that have a warranty, and therefore that's why I use it. And so there is a little bit more cost to it because the supplier has to keep it in the warehouse so that I can pick it up and bring it here. And of course, I have to pick it up and get it and bring it to the account. So there's, of course, some transportation charges there. And this part is guaranteed to be an original part from the manufacturer, and that's why it costs more. And there's, again, that warranty behind this part. And I can tell you that these manufactured parts are much better than some generic part you may get and save $30 or $40 on. So that's one reason why I charge this. The other reason is I really charge what I charge because I need to keep my doors open. And if I didn't make any money, and if everything was discounted, and if I charge what they charge on Amazon, which is a gigantic corporation, and by the way, they have ways of, they make their money not actually selling products, they just host these sellers and make a ton of money. And I don't have that business model. So I'm not as big as them, and I can't do what they do to have those prices. But if you wanted to get that on Amazon, and I can take this part back, if it's something that you can actually just take back, it's not installed equipment, and I get this a lot for like little things like pump baskets or cleaner parts, I can take this off your equipment. You can order that on Amazon and put it in, but I can't guarantee it's going to be the same quality of the part that I put in. But you're welcome to do that. Just let me know if you want me to pick it up. You know, if you have the other part from Amazon, have it by the equipment pad, I'll put it in for you, and then I'll take my part back. And that's kind of where you want to go with this, because when you get to that point, most customers, I think, will say, well, that's fine. I understand. Just leave that there. Just next time, let me know, what it's going to be ahead of time, and that may give you like some song and dance about the future. And, don't do that again to them. And you have to really understand that, again, people are coming from all different backgrounds, and maybe they grew up with no money and everything seems to be expensive for them. Or sometimes they feel like they need to save money. So there's all kinds of psychology behind why people are looking for a bargain all the time. So with that in mind, I would also caution you how you advertise for new business. A lot of times you may think it's a good idea to say, first month free. And that's a pretty good catch for customers. Like, they sign up with you for pool service and you give them 1 month free. However, if you have listened to this at this point, you understand that we're a bargain hunting society. We like sales, we like deals. You may be attracting a customer with that particular advertisement that is someone that you won't be able to deal with later because they're looking for a bargain for everything. So if you're offering 1 month free, which may save them $150 if that's what you charge for the first month, I really think you're attracting the wrong kind of customer. Now, hear me out here, because you may be thinking, well, then how am I going to offer something to the customer if I don't have some kind of deal? You can offer a deal later to the customer, or you can offer them a deal that doesn't really affect you too much or hurts your bottom line, but still is somewhat attractive to the customer. Here's something that you can offer somebody if you wanted to advertise something to kind of bring out that kind of, this is on sale kind of attitude towards your business to get more clients. You can say, sign up for pool service today and I'll do 1 free filter cleaning for you. Now, of course, you're going to, if here in California we charge for filter cleanings, in Florida maybe you don't, so you don't really lose anything with that. But here we do charge for filter cleaning, so we have full-size quad cartridge filters and D filters. So yes, it does hurt you a little bit because you're doing a free filter cleaning, but it doesn't really affect your bottom line tremendously because you're just losing some labor charges. And at the same time, the customer is getting something that they normally would pay for. Or you could do something like this: sign up for service and get, 40% off the trichlor bucket of tablets. And a lot of pool services, they should be doing this, and I do this. They sell the tablets to the customer at the beginning of the season or when they need it. Sometimes it goes for 2 years, and they give them a discount on that. Yes, you lose some money because you're paying more for the tablets and you're selling it to the customer for, but they are getting kind of a bargain on that. And they do need that trichlor tablets if you use that as a part of your sanitizing of their pools. And so that's a way of doing it where they get a kind of a deal, and it affects your bottom line a little bit, but you're not giving away something entirely for free. So I think the mentality here is that you don't want to create this idea that you are a bargain pool service. You want to create the impression that your services have value. And if you are giving, 1 month free service, that shows that your service does not have value, in my opinion. I think that's kind of attracting the wrong kind of customer. So if you follow this kind of thinking, you want to project your company as a company that has value. And if you're offering any kind of discounts to draw them in because you're in a competitive area, then by all means offer something that helps the customer, helps you as well, because they do need the trichlor, they do need the filter cleaning, but doesn't really hurt you or make it look like you're someone who's going to give them discounts and bargains all the time, if that makes sense. Now, if you're in an area where it's not competitive, you don't have to offer any discounts. You just have to offer your service as a competent pool service. Believe me, it goes a really long way when you show competence in your business. Like, you show up at the stop, you can make sure that the pool is going to be blue all the time, balanced, and they're not going to have any problems and they want to go use their pool. That really goes a long way out there, because there is a gap between competent pool service companies and companies that are just doing the work. I don't know if that makes sense, but set yourself apart that you are the competent pool service, that the customer has nothing to worry about if they hire you. And I think if you provide valued service, the customer is going to respect that. Over time, it takes time to kind of get that relationship, but if you show up every week, the pool looks great, and over time, they're not going to really be bothered by you charging for something because they know that you're providing valued service. So a lot of these problems you may run into with people looking for bargains or questioning your prices are because they don't know you as well and they haven't established a relationship with you, and you're not providing the service that shows quality service, and maybe that's why they're wanting the bargain all the time. Could just be their personality as well. But if you provide valuable professional service, I think people will appreciate that, or at least most people will. Of course, there's going to be those that are always going to be questioning the prices still, but the majority of people will appreciate that, and then they'll reward you by not really questioning when you say, this is going to be a $500 repair or a $300 repair, because you do provide that valued service that they can't really get anywhere else easily. And at the end of the day, if you have to give a customer a discount or their money back, or a partial refund, I should say, not all their money back for something because they're questioning it and they're really on you about it, I would just cave and do that. I've had many group members ask me, the customer wants me to show them my wholesale invoice. I told them, don't do that. That's your pricing. I don't ask my AC guy or my plumber, how much did you pay for it at your supplier? That's not something they provide for you. But at the same time, if they want like a little break on the price because they're really frustrated or wanting you to bend a little bit, then I tell them, bend. Let them have a little discount and understand that, you're losing a little bit, but you're still retaining that customer. At least you want to keep that good relationship. And there are customers that will keep pushing until you do make that bend. So understand all the different personalities on your pool route. Understand that sometimes you have to bend so you don't break or lose that account or don't get paid for something that you should be paid for. It can be complicated, and sometimes you don't feel like it was the right decision to make when you do bend, but sometimes you really have little choice. And so I've been in situations like that where I'm up against the wall and I just going to have to discount it because the customer is not going to pay me anything. And I don't want to do that because, as I mentioned earlier, there's just not a lot of recourse in this line of business when something like that happens. you're looking for other podcasts I've recorded, you can find those on my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. Just click on the podcast icon on the banner, and a drop-down menu of over 1,600 podcasts will be there for you. And if you're interested in the coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.